Continental Unity Party, the power of grassroots movements. In unity is strength.
Yes.
Grassroots movement in Gabon, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Uganda, DRC, Côte d'Ivoire, Namibia, Guinea, Somalia, Nigeria, Kenya, Burkina Faso, Ghana, Zambia, Zimbabwe. Early setback in Pan-Africanism. Patrice Lumumba of the Democratic Republic of Congo, then the Republic of the Congo. He sought to unite Congo's 200 ethnic groups under a single national identity, avoiding the tribal and regional division left by colonial rule. He planned to nationalize the country's vast mineral wealth, which was largely under foreign control. He declared that the freedom of Congo was incomplete unless all African nations were truly free. Muammar Gaddafi of Libya nationalized oil in the 1970s, using revenue to fund social programs, achieved free education and healthcare, raising literacy rates and life expectancy. He implemented housing programs and land redistribution, constructed the Great Man-Made River Project, supplying water from the desert to cities and farms, funded groups like the African National Congress, ANC, in South Africa, and other anti-colonial forces. The driving force behind transforming the Organization of African Unity into the African Union in 2002. He advocated for a United States of Africa with a single African army, a common passport, a single currency, the gold dinar, and one central Pan-African government. He bankrolled many African Union activities and meetings, pushed for the creation of African institutions like the African Monetary Fund, the African Investment Bank, the African Central Bank, funded cultural and religious projects aimed at uniting African spiritually and historically, promoted African identity and pride, challenging Western narratives. Praise Jah, Rastafari. Samoa Michel of Mozambique. He abolished colonial institutions, expelled Portuguese settlers, and nationalized key sectors of the economy. He nationalized land, industries, and banks, aiming to build a classless society based on collective ownership. He promoted state farming cooperatives and collective agriculture, introduced free education and healthcare for all, advocated for women emancipation, banning traditional practices like forced marriages and bride price. Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso renamed the country from Upper Volta to Burkina Faso, land of the upright men, of the upright people, in 1984. Sankara reduced his own salary, sold off government luxury cars, and banned government officials from using chauffeurs and first-class travel. He launched a campaign of agricultural self-sufficiency. Burkina Faso went from food aid dependence to self-sufficient in staple crops. He nationalized land and mineral wealth, carried out a mass vaccination campaign. He vaccinated 2.5 million children against diseases like measles and meningitis in a few weeks, amongst many of his grand achievements. Praise Jah. Patrice Lumumba, Muammar Gaddafi, Mohamed Michel, Thomas Sankara. All four leaders opposed imperialism and neo-colonialism. They advocated for self-reliance, social justice, and African unity. Each of them either died violently or under suspicious circumstances. Their ideas and leadership continues to inspire Pan-Africanist movements and progressive thinkers today and also into the future. Praise Jah, Rastafari. African Continental Unity Party. It says Africa must stop worshipping President Ibrahim Traoré. In this revolutionary analysis, the ACUP proudly expresses its official support for the people of Burkina Faso and their leader, President Ibrahim Traoré. They also say, we urge all free-thinking Africans to stand in solidarity with Burkina Faso and actively join the wave of revolution sweeping the African continent. Furthermore, the leaders of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, their leaders to accelerate the integration of their and create a pathway for a broader African unity. Praise Jah, Rastafari. The African Continental Unity Party leadership will clarify their stance exclusively on The Motivator Show, where success is ours for the taking.
Yes, yes, yes.
African Continental Unity Party, the power of grassroots movements. In unity is strength.
Yes.
Grassroots movement in Gabon, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Uganda, DRC, Côte d'Ivoire, Namibia, Guinea, Somalia, Nigeria, Kenya, Burkina Faso, Ghana, Zambia, Zimbabwe. Early setback in Pan-Africanism. Patrice Lumumba of the Democratic Republic of Congo, then the Republic of the Congo. He sought to unite Congo's 200 ethnic groups under a single national identity, avoiding the tribal and regional division left by colonial rule. He planned to nationalize the country's vast mineral wealth, which was largely under foreign control. He declared that the freedom of Congo was incomplete unless all African nations were truly free. Muammar Gaddafi of Libya nationalized oil in the 1970s, using revenue to fund social programs, achieved free education and healthcare, raising literacy rates and life expectancy. He implemented housing programs and land redistribution, constructed the Great Man-Made River Project, supplying water from the desert to cities and farms, funded groups like the African National Congress, ANC, in South Africa, and other anti-colonial forces. the driving force behind transforming the Organization of African Unity into the African Union in 2002. He advocated for a United States of Africa with a single African army, a common passport, a single currency, the gold dinar, and one central Pan-African government. He bankrolled many African Union activities and pushed for the creation of African institutions like the African Monetary Fund, the African Investment Bank, the African Central Bank, funded cultural and religious projects aimed at uniting African spiritually and historically, promoted African identity and pride, challenging Western narratives. Praise Jah, Rastafari. Samoa Michel of Mozambique. He abolished colonial institutions, expelled Portuguese settlers, and nationalized key sectors of the economy. He nationalized land, industries, and banks, aiming to build a classless society based on collective ownership. He promoted state farming cooperatives and collective agriculture, introduced free education and health care for all, advocated for women's emancipation, banning traditional practices like forced marriages and bride price. Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso renamed the country from Upper Volta to Burkina Faso, land of the upright men, of the upright people, in 1984. Sankara reduced its own salary, sold off government luxuries, and banned government officials from using chauffeurs and first-class travel. He launched a campaign of agricultural self-sufficiency. Burkina Faso went from food aid dependence to self-sufficient in staple crops. He nationalized land and mineral wealth, carried out a mass vaccination campaign. He vaccinated 2.5 million children against diseases like measles and meningitis in a few weeks, amongst many of his grand achievements. Praise Jah, Rastafari. Patrice Lumumba, Muammar Gaddafi, Samoa Michel, Thomas Sankara. All four leaders opposed imperialism and neo-colonialism. They advocated for self-reliance, social justice, and African unity. Each of them either died violently or under suspicious circumstances. Their ideas and leadership continues to inspire Pan-Africanist movements and progressive thinkers today and also into the future. Praise Jah, Rastafari. African Continental Unity Party says Africa must stop worshipping President Ibrahim Traoré. In this revolutionary analysis, the ACUP proudly expresses its official support for the people of Burkina Faso and their leader, President Ibrahim Traoré. They also say, we urge all free-thinking Africans to stand in solidarity with Burkina Faso and actively join the wave of revolution sweeping across the African continent. Furthermore, they called upon the leaders of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, their leaders to accelerate the integration of their nations and create a pathway for a broader African unity. Praise Jah, Rastafari. The African Continental Unity Party leadership will clarify their stance exclusively on The Motivator Show, where success is ours for the taking.
Yes, yes, yes.
African Continental. And there you have it. And there you have it. This is the Motivator Show. This is where we translate our words into action and where success is ours for the taking. How you feeling, people? How you feeling? I'm feeling fantastic. I exercise this morning. I'm feeling, oh, my body's feeling so alive. I hope you're feeling alive. This will be another inspirational podcast. It is one you should stay for every moment of this podcast. Why? Because you'll be inspired. You'll be motivated. You will not feel a drag or down at the end of this podcast. You'll be alive, reinvigorated, ready to face the world. That's the intention of these podcasts, okay? Wow. Oh, what a wonderful few days I've had. And I'm looking forward to many, many, many more days, such as what I've had thus far. So today's podcast will involve a number of key issues, okay? And as you've seen in the intro video, we're going to look at the power of grassroots organization, and one specifically, grassroots organization, okay? And we're going to address what it means to have, he says, collective responsibility. What that really mean in essence, okay? In understanding these details, we'll be in a much better position to understand our relationship to those changes we want to make in our own lives, our families' lives, the wider community, society's lives, okay, for the better. In unity is strength. I know you understand it. I know you understand, okay? And of course, if you wish to communicate with the studio and you're on YouTube or Facebook, you could use the messenger service if you've subscribed. It's free to subscribe, I might add. It is free to subscribe. Yeah, you can send messages to us, and I may, if you pose a question to us, we may respond to you during the live session. But each of these live sessions will be re-edited, and of course, it will contain even more information that was contained in the live. So watch this space. But without further ado, let me go right into it. First of all, let's give recognition to my guest of last week. First of all, a big thumbs up, of course, to Dr. Carlton Brown. Yep, there you go. And of course, to Nicola Millington, okay, who presented at our last podcast, okay? And what she reminded us of is, of course, the UK Black Business Entrepreneurs Conference, which is now sold out. I say again, it is now sold out. Now sold out. That's our successful venture that Dr. Carlton and Nicola Millington have put together. It is that appealing. I wish to commend them to the community for their sterling work in promoting entrepreneurship, business acumen, skills, and endeavour, particularly amongst the diverse communities here in Britain, or if you like, the African communities that make up Britain. Well done to you both and your entire team, who are also entrepreneurs who've come together in common aim and common purpose, understanding, working together, we go far. I say again, working together, we go far, because in unity is strength. I say again, in unity is strength. These are important lessons for us all to take on board. So well done. Well done. Well done. But there is an after party. Oh, forgive me. I know I keep saying that. There's a post-conference networking opportunity on the 28th of June, 2025, the details of which will be contained in the re-edited version of this live podcast, which will go out in 48 hours after this live podcast. If you want details of the post-conference networking session or the after party, if you like, okay, where you can meet all those who attended the original conference and the institutions that support those conferences, they will be at the post-conference after party or networking opportunity. Details of which will be contained in the re-edited version of this live podcast, which will be out in 24 to 48 hours. To watch this space. Again, thumbs up, and recognition to those who organised the UK Black Business Entrepreneurs Conference. Keep up the good work. Keep up the good work. Well done, well done. My second very quick announcement, and I know you will understand, these podcasts are intended to both inform and empower, to motivate you to do better for yourself, families, your network, your wider communities, your societies. Because you, the individuals, working together are incredibly powerful people, okay? I urge you not to believe the propaganda that you are powerless. That's what those propagandists want you to believe, that you are powerless. Okay. It is true, let's concede. If you operate as a lone ranger, sole practitioner, okay, you are less powerful than if you come together with your family, your neighbors, your network, those of like mind. You work together in common aim and common purpose. Absolutely true. The old saying says, if you wish to go fast, yep, go fast, really fast, yeah? Really, really fast. And yep, you can do it by yourself. Yep, you get there very quickly. But if you want to go far, sustainable, yep, if you wish to sustain your success, we do it together. In unity is strength. And if you think about it, it's quite logical, isn't it? It is quite logical. Unity is strength. That's the way forward. Even those persons who could be somewhat, well, antagonistic, in unity is strength. Well done, well done. I know many of you get it. Let me also just remind you of the other initiatives that we've launched here at the Motivator Show, okay? So let me just bring up one other. Many of you recall my guest, Sipui, we discussed and I put it on the screen for you, the Pan-African Treaty of the Sixth Region African Diaspora. This is where the diaspora, the African diaspora, here in Europe, yep, I'm in Britain, the Caribbean, the Americas, indeed, Australasia, Asia, okay, can come together under a single treaty, okay, and therefore have direct influence over the African Union's agencies, in this case, ESOSOC, and gives you an opportunity to understand what is happening on the continent of Africa. And therefore, you have a direct influence. Because if you pool your resources, pool your influence under the Sixth Region Treaty, the Pan-African Treaty, okay, it gives you an opportunity to influence for minimal or no cost to yourselves. But influence we should have. So I commend this initiative to you. I say again, I commend this initiative to you. Reach out to them. And here's the email address. It's Pan-African Treaty, African Diaspora, without the A at the end. Pan-African Treaty, African Diaspora, DIASPOR, without the A at the end, at gmail.com. Reach out to them, obtain a copy, read it, scrutinize it for yourselves. And I urge you to sign up. I urge you to sign up. So it is an official document. I commend this initiative to you. Do not hesitate, because hesitation means others will get in there before you. If you're just an ordinary man, ordinary woman, yeah, you believe you are powerless, this is a way of regaining your power, regaining your influence. And that absolutely is a worthy cause. I say again, it is absolutely a worthy cause. Praise Jah, Rastafari. Okay. And my last very quick announcement, and this is really to do with the UK or Britain and its wider empire or Commonwealth. Okay. I say this deliberately. You could be anywhere in the world, but you can still be affected by what is generally used, the term, the Windrush scandal. The Windrush scandal is an example where parliamentary legislation can take away from those with the legal right to be in Britain or to enter Britain were prevented from entering Britain. It was concluded by the so-called Home Office there, or may be referred to in other places, State Department, that the actions of Parliament, note, actions of Parliament, taking away the statehood of those who are in this country legally, was indeed ethnically biased, or indeed, general parlance, racially biased, and therefore needs to be corrected. Those of you who have been affected by the so-called Windrush scandal, who were denied your legal right to be in Britain for reasons outside of your direct control because of direct action of Parliament. Okay. Seek out legal advice. Yeah? Legal advice is there available to you. And you recall a previous British Prime Minister made it clear that those affected by the Windrush scandal are British and are entitled to British citizenship and British passport. I urge you, do not stay in the shadows. Rise up above the parapet. Show yourself. Obtain the legal support so you can enshrine in law your rights. You recall we had the legal beagle here in the studio from the Windrush Legal Advice Clinic here in Britain at 58 Bank Street, West Midlands, postcode WV148PD, email address info@windrushlegaladviceclinic.com. It's on the screen, windrushlegaladviceclinic.com. Telephone number, if you're in the UK, but if it's overseas, it's +44, you remove the 0. But if you're in the UK, it's 01902 382 542. I commend the work of the Windrush Legal Advice Clinic. Well done to all the legal beagles involved. Okay? More details can be available in the re-edited version of this podcast. It will be on the screen and in the contacts listings. Well done to you all. Well done to you all. Well done to you all. Now it's important for me to move on to the next section, and there are other announcements I will make later on, but for now, let us focus on the next section, which is, of course, lifestyle messages. I include lifestyle messages in each of these podcasts because the issue of our health and well-being, the issue of our mental health, physical health, indeed our spiritual health, is of paramount importance because our health is indeed our highest wealth, our highest wealth. But it is observed, forgive me, It is a statistical reporting fact but the health of particularly people of African, indeed Asian ascent, particularly from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, there are significant public health concerns. Above levels of obesity, in other words, fatness, particularly amongst women. Above levels of diabetes across the genders. Above levels of hypertension or high blood pressure. Above levels of mental health concerns. And that's just the beginning. But much of this is related to our lifestyle, how we live our lives, what we put into our body, our mental outlook. Yeah? Much of it can be prevented through making small changes, incremental changes to our lifestyle. It is so important that we pay attention to our lifestyle. We've all developed habits from children, very sweet food, oily food, salty food, yeah? We get into the habit of these types of food, knowing quite well in the long term, it can be harmful. Oily food, particularly seed oil, sunflower oil, corn oil, yeah? Rapeseed oil, yeah? Frying our foods and causing long-term health conditions. We can, I say again, we must do better. We must do better. And for these reasons, in each of these podcasts, I'll remind us all that we are all one, yeah? We are a single species, a single race, and we're all affected by this, even myself. We all must respond to good health lifestyle messages. For these reasons, I include in these podcasts a small section, just a small section, to our lifestyle, how we're living our lives, and to raise awareness that we can make the difference to our lifestyle, to our general health and well-being. It's within our power. It's within our power to effect the change requires a focused and determined mind to do so. And if in doubt, seek out professional help. Hold the hands of those you respect, those who you feel the strength, so that they will share that respect and strength with you. And together we will make the difference, because unity is strength. So I want you to watch this short video and take note of what the professor says. Not me, take note of what the professor says, because his words are profound. His words are profound. And if in doubt, I say to people, ask questions. Yeah? This is a very serious matter, because your health is truly your highest wealth. Please observe, listen keenly. The Motivator Show, the internet's most inspirational podcast. Every Saturday morning from 8 to 10 a.m. I choose a healthy lifestyle. I will relax and when possible attend a spa. I will eat healthy food and drink appropriate amount of water each day. I will exercise and maintain fitness. I will not be afraid of doctors and seek out medical examination when I need it. I will promote good mental health because it's important to me. I deserve to be happy. London is United Kingdom city. It is amongst the most cosmopolitan in the world. It possesses all possible extremes, including in wealth, cultural and religious diversities. The main causes of illness and premature death in London, like the rest of the United Kingdom, are coronary heart disease, stroke, cancers, and respiratory diseases. Other key health challenges in London include tuberculosis, issues relating to sexual health, including HIV/AIDS, mental health, and drug and alcohol misuse. It is likely that these issues and diabetes and obesity will continue to be priorities over the next 10 years. As London's diverse population increases, there's also likely to be an increase in diseases which are more prevalent in some Black and ethnic minority communities, such as high blood pressure and renal diseases. I choose a healthy lifestyle. I will relax, and when possible, attend a spa. I will eat healthy food and drink appropriate amount of water each day. I will exercise and maintain fitness. I will not be afraid of doctors and seek out medical examination when I need it. I will promote good mental health because it's important to me. I deserve to be happy. London currently has high levels of health inequalities, with unacceptable variations in infant mortality and life expectancy across the capital. Tackling these issues is likely to remain a key challenge over the next 10 years. London is United Kingdom's capital city. It is amongst the most cosmopolitan in the world. It possesses all possible extremes, including in wealth, cultural and religious diversities. The causes of health inequalities are similar to those that determine health in general, including, for example, housing conditions, employment opportunities, environmental factors such as pollution, the amount of exercise undertaken, one's diet and smoking, and access to health services. I choose a healthy lifestyle. I will relax and when possible attend a spa. I will eat healthy food and drink appropriate amount of water each day. I will exercise and maintain fitness. I will not be afraid of doctors and seek out medical examination when I need it. I will promote good mental health because it's important to me. I deserve to be happy. Public health priorities. Life expectancy is stalling and health inequalities are widening. After a century of increases, the decades prior to COVID-19 pandemic saw improvement in life expectancy amongst the UK population stall. For some, these improvements went into reverse. Between 2010 and 2012 and 2016 and 2018, life expectancy among women living in the most deprived 10% of areas of England fell, with the largest increases in the North East. The diseases now most prevalent within the communities include diabetes, high blood pressure, heart conditions, cardiovascular diseases, lung disease, cancers, and obesity. London is United Kingdom's capital city. It is amongst the most cosmopolitan in the world. It possesses all possible extremes, including in wealth, cultural and religious diversities. Professor Kevin Fenton, CBE. Kevin Fenton is the president of the Faculty of Public Health, senior public health expert and infectious disease epidemiologist who has worked in a variety of public health executive leadership roles across government and academia in the United Kingdom and internationally. His specialist interests are in tackling health inequalities, infectious disease prevention and control, climate justice, and urban health. Professor Fenton is the Regional Director for London in the Office for Health Improvement and Disparities within the Department of Health and Social Care. Within this role, he's also the Statutory Public Health Advisor to the Mayor of London and the Greater London Authority and the Regional Director of Public Health for NHS London. He is also the Government Chief Advisor on HIV and Chair of the HIV Action Plan Implementation Steering Group for England. Professor Kevin Fenton says, I'm a public health director. Here are 5 things you can do to improve your health. 1. Mindful and balanced eating. Nourish wisely. Eat whole, balanced meals with awareness to support energy and well-being. 2. Get outside. Be with nature. Time outside reduces stress, improves mood, and strengthens your connection to the world. 3. Stay curious, stay engaged, explore new interests, keep your mind sharp, build social contacts, and boost your happiness. 4. Get active, move it or lose it. Move daily, lift weight, and do cardio. Exercise, improve physical, mental, mood, and energy. 5. Prioritize rest and sleep. Disconnect, rest. Quality sleep supports mental clarity, emotional balance, and overall health. I choose a healthy lifestyle. I will relax and when possible attend a spa. I will eat healthy food and drink appropriate amount of water each day. I will exercise and maintain fitness. I will not be afraid of doctors and seek out medical examination when I need it. I will promote good mental health because it's important to me. I deserve to be happy. Traditional. You deserve to be happy. I say again, you deserve to be happy. You are the change makers. I say again, you are the change makers. Your health is your highest wealth. It's within your power, your control to determine the quality of your lives. Yeah? Don't believe the propaganda that says otherwise. And what I'm heartened by is the numbers of you who've responded positively to those words. You've understood working together can transform all of your life. Not simply a single life. Working together, we can transform your health and well-being, your health prospects, how you live a long, healthy, disease or pain-free elderly life. How you can ensure you don't fall victim to all the public health conditions, diabetes, hypertension, yeah, respiratory conditions, poor mental health. And working together, you can transform yourself. And I'm heartened by the numbers of you who responded positively, who notified that there are people come together in common aim and common purpose, putting their resources high and exercise together as opposed to being a lone ranger activity. Coming together in common aim and common purpose, understanding, working together, regardless of your religious affiliation, Christians and Muslims, regardless of your gender, male and female, regardless of your education, degrees or no degree, regardless of your social class or your employment, coming together in common aim and common purpose, because your health is indeed your highest wealth. What I want to do now is show you an example of a group of people who's come together and coming together to promote good, healthy lifestyle is making a difference to them. Okay. Watch this short video and I know you'll be impressed with what you can do in your immediate neighborhood, within your communities. in common aim and common purpose, because your health is, of course, your highest wealth. And if in doubt, I say again, if in doubt, ask the question, but watch these ordinary people. Just watch them. Just watch how they are so graceful. Ordinary people. Some are tall, some are short, yeah? Some are quite plump, some are quite thin, yeah? But they all have a clear and common aim and purpose: to stay healthy, to stay fit. Watch this video.
Cheese. Famous. Hello, 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 hello. Awe. 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 You get one life on leave. Me self get one life on leave. Why we no go use I'm gladdy and enjoy the time.
They come together in common aim and common purpose. They exercise together.
Now why are they try for always get them nice every day?
Coming together,
and night.
much easier to exercise. Yeah? There you are. You see them dipping shape. There's no shame. There's no shame. Understanding, putting their resources to higher all. Common aim and common purpose. Your health is your highest wealth.
If you see finance where you call it Bilam. You meet up woman where you let Yanam.
Wonderful. Look at that. Huh? Oh, they're stretching now.
The food where you feel for it.
Oh, look at that. Huh? Are you not sitting there? Help you exercising now.
Love them. But if you love them all now, you not for left want them more. Cause nobody know. Nobody know what's into my own.
Huh?
So every day I feel like tear old. Fasting enjoyment stay go. Now for land for care for
nothing too hard.
Nobody love you past yourself. All man
you will not be judged.
Now why are not the allowed with you?
Come together with people with common aim and common purpose. You will not be judged. Just try your best. You've even got their children with them. That's the way forward. Yeah, get them into good habits with their children. They take those habits into their adulthood. Very positive. Is this happening in your community, in your neighborhood, yep, in your town, in your villages? You set aside 30 minutes, let's say, just to do it on exercise. Just a few minutes before you start the meeting, or before you start work, or before you go to church or the mosque or the temple. Oh yeah. Your health is your highest wealth. If these messages save this one life, it's worthwhile. I know we definitely saved more than one life.
And if you baby love you back love them. But if you love them all now, you not for left them.
Look at that, huh?
Want them more. Cause nobody know what's in tomorrow. So every day of my life,
regardless of your ethnicity, regardless of your religious affiliation, regardless of your education, regardless of your food, regardless of your tall or your short, regardless of your plump or limp, come together in common purpose, just human beings.
No make nobody take you peace away.
There you are.
Me smile away. Oh no.
Hold on. Look at that. He's showing them how to exercise, huh? Oh my God, lovely. We need more of this. Hope you're up and you're exercising now. Just watch them. Don't just sit there passively. You're gonna get up and just move your body. That's what we need. Oh yeah. Oh, you got to love them. You got to love them. And I want to thank you I want to thank you for your feedback. Yeah, your feedback has been very, very positive. Very, very positive. Thank you. We appreciate you. All those messages of support. And those of you who've now set up your own local exercise classes, yes, do so. Continue to expand them where you can. In common aim and common purpose, your health is your highest wealth. Although I'm bound to say, if you're in South London, where I am at the moment, okay, and there are local groups, and I'm know of one, okay, I'm know of one quite local to myself, groups of people responded to these positive messages, understanding, working together is the way forward, pooling their resources, hire the facilities, and so they now exercise together. So if you're here in South London, look them up. Look them up. Yeah, the Countdown, the same organisation. They put it on the screen. There you go. Here, if you're in South London or you're visiting London, the Countdown Health and Wellbeing Charity. They meet every Monday and Wednesday, okay, from 6:30 to 8 p.m. each evening at 12 Tatham Street in Wharf, that's in London. Postcode S for sugar E171TN if you want to find it on the map. Or you can reach out to them by email at countdown0405@gmail.com. I repeat, countdown0405@gmail.com. You can speak to them to make those appropriate arrangements. And if you're in the UK, it's 07960 803 588. I commend the Countdown organisation to you and all the other organisations who have responded to these positive messages. Praise Jah, Rastafari. Long may you continue your outstanding work, working together in common aim and common purpose is the only way forward. Individualism, which has pervaded far too many communities, is the death of those communities. It breeds elitism, detachment, and the type of social system that we are still suffering under. We have a small elite with incredible wealth, and therefore incredible influence, indeed power. A small elite who become so detached that they're not always operating in the interest of our species. I use the term species to denote the fact that we are but one family, a single species, if you like, a single race. There are no such things as race. Yep, we are but one race, if there's any race. This is the human race. We as a species to think about our social system, which allow children to die for lack of clean water and lack of food, that people be undereducated, allow other human beings to not have access to first-class health care, who allow other human beings not to have access to outstanding, where some ethnicities hoard incredible wealth for themselves, allow other ethnicities, in other words, other members of the human family, an essential part of our gene pool, to suffer and to dwell in damnation. We need to think about that as a species, okay? And we need to consider the changes which are necessary. Which is, of course, why it is so important that we rally around people of good conscience. We rally around them. Mhm. One such person that I can attest to is, of course, President Ibrahim Traore, the president of Burkina Faso. Many of you recall I've had their leaders here in the Motivator Show in these studios. And be aware that we are preparing a trip to Burkina Faso. And with sufficient numbers, we have the opportunity to meet the great man himself, and certainly those close to him. To visit the entire country, to assess where we can invest, where we can put down roots. Yes, Motivator Show is organising such a trip. So be ready when the details come out. Don't hesitate, because the future is yours for the taking. Do not hesitate, that others will take your place. The details will be forthcoming. It's hoped that by the next podcast, we'll have all the details completely fleshed out and prepared for you. But we will do this right. And if the motivator is involved, we'll be right. That much I'm assuring you. As we move forward, though, the issue of Burkina Faso and that great man, President Ibrahim Traore, has come to the fore. Many of you will be aware that on a number of occasions in the past few months on the Motivator Show, we've had representatives of the ACUP, the African Continental Unity Party, which is, of course, an Africanist party. It seeks to promote Pan-Africanist ideals in the leadership right across the country and expend insignificant resources to that end. It is the only truly Pan-Africanist party that is extending its reach across the continent. And for that reason, I always welcome their leaders. But I'm well aware, in leadership, there are times in which you make statements which are not fully understood. Okay? And there's a statement that's been circulating in the social media platforms throughout the African communities across the world. Okay? A statement made by the ACUP leadership, okay, which we want to address today, okay, and we would address today. Okay? I'm proud that they accepted my invitation to discuss these matters here on the Motivator Show. I pause because I want you to understand that this discussion will be respectful. We are brothers and sisters here in the Pan-Africanist space. We are brothers and sisters who hold each other's in mutual respect. There'll be no shouting. There'll be no cursing. There'll be no disparaging. What we seek to do is to understand each other better. But I want to put up the words of one of the personalities included in our intro video, and which I'll play after this interview. And this I'll put up on the screen now, and there you go. I want you to listen. This is Patrice Lumumba, last words before his execution at the hand of the French. I say again, at the hand of the French state. He said, "Neither brutality, cruelty, or torture will ever bring me to ask for mercy. For I prefer to die with my head held high, unshakable faith, and the greatest confidence in the destiny of my country. Rather live in slavery and contempt for sacred principles." Patrice Lumumba of the DRC, Democratic Republic of the Congo, as it is known now. That was his last words before his execution. And still, the DRC, much of its mineral wealth, it's in the hands of foreign multinationals. In other words, the elite. And yes, it is true, children, babies, been forced to work in those mines, particularly lithium mines, because those corporations do not care, allow African babies, African children to work in those lithium mines, covered with mud, yeah, when they should be in schools. Yes, I had to pause there. Those were the words of Patrice Lumumba, amongst the personalities I include in my intro video. Another of them is Muammar Gaddafi. And I have to express some shame that I hadn't completed the research on that particular personality prior to this podcast. But now I have completed it. I wish to express great admiration for his achievements, and the details will become apparent soon. But before that, we need to address the issues surrounding the ACUP. I'm going to bring leaders of the ACUP into the studio now. Let's see if we can get them in now. Okay. Bring them into this. They're now in my green room, just making sure we're all ready. And we're going to address some fun issues which will really ensure that if there's misunderstanding, we can deal with those misunderstandings at source in the most respectful African way. Let's we can bring him into the studio. Let's see if this works. Oh, it works! First hand. I believe he's here. Ah, we have success. King Kabbalah, how are you, sir, this morning?
Yes.
How are you?
Greetings, King, and all the listeners. I am doing well. I hope you're doing well as well.
Praise Jah, Rastafari. I most certainly am doing well. It is good to see your visit. Wow, the strength of the African man, huh? You're in Africa, huh? The strength of the African man. Absolutely. Indeed. Oh, yeah.
Indeed.
Powerful.
That's good to see.
Powerful.
Peace and love.
I'm appreciative that you could spare the time to join us this morning. Okay, we are appreciative. We have much to discuss in a relatively little time. Okay, I know you. Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do, just to get this interview underway, and it's my usual question, but in your case, I'm going to not ask you about your name. I'm going to ask you about the organization. So I'm going to ask you first, we'll just confirm your name, the organization that you represent. But what I also want you to do, the ACUP, the African Continental Unity Party. I'm going to invite you to describe maybe one or two of successful activities or events put on by the ACUP in the past 12 months, just so that the people understand some of your works. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, King, and I'm happy to be on your show once again. It's a privilege that we have.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Exactly. And I'm thankful on behalf of ACUP. We thank you, and we thank all African listeners on your show. My name is King Kabbalah. I am a member of the African Continental Unity Party, which is briefly known as the ACUP. It's a global Pan-African movement that is being transformed into political parties across African countries to capture the power and to drive Africa in the direction that is conducive to our needs, aspirations as African people. So as to what has been our achievements for the past 12 years, we have so many. The first thing is that
12 months. Just say 12 months. 12 years might be unfair.
12 months. Yeah. You're right. So I apologize for that. For the past 12 months. Okay. Yeah. So you have so many, especially in the context of mobilization. As you know, the revolutionary agenda has got two steps on it, and the first step is to mobilize, and the second step is to organize. Without mobilizing people, you cannot organize them. So we have done a lot of mobilization across the continent, and more strongly in Ghana, where we have been going on the marketplace to talk to people, to preach Pan-Africanism to people, to common people, because we believe in the power of common people, which is the power of accomplishing extraordinary things. When people come together, unite on one goal, or one common goal, and begin to work together, they are capable of realizing extraordinary results. So we have been doing that in universities in Ghana. We have been doing that on the streets, in the marketplace. We have been preaching that news, and that has been successful in a way that ACUP is becoming a brand well established in Ghana as we're speaking now, and also across the continent.
Mhm.
And apart from that, we have moved quickly to securing our final certificate as a political party in Ghana. As you know,
Mhm.
to do that in Ghana, there's a lot of stringent requirements that have to
Yes.
cover all the whole country, and we have been able to successfully have representations across the country. So that is a very that's a list. I mean, there's a long list of achievements that we have done in Ghana. In South Africa, we are progressing as well. In Kenya, we are doing the same thing. In Congo, we have just started a chapter recently, which
Mhm.
is called Positive Action. So, as
Yes.
you know, ACUP sometimes works with the different actions, sometimes works with the Free Minded Academy, which is educational system, sometimes works with Ubuntu, which
Mhm.
is economic system. So
Yes.
we study the environment, the country, and we decide what option can we introduce ourselves with in the particular country. So in DRC, we have decided to start with the positive action. So the message is clear. Let's everyone begin to do some positive actions because the country is literally destroyed by negative actions, and we cannot repair it by only speech or critics of the government and so forth and so on. But we can do better by beginning at individual level,
Mhm.
community level, to
Mhm.
do some positive actions. And
Mhm.
the number of
Yes.
positive actions that we put will outnumber the number of the negative actions. I think this is well established by Kwame Nkrumah in Conscientism. And when the goods that we do outnumber the bad being done, the country begin to change and to be driven in different directions. So that has been what we are doing, and we are
Mhm.
preparing to do great things as well in the upcoming years. Tomorrow we are having our general meeting as
Mhm.
ACUP, where we actually outline a lot of achievements that we've done in the past and what we are planning to do in the future. It's gonna be
Mhm.
tomorrow at 7 p.m. GMT time. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Thank you. And there you are, the audience. You hear them. They are active. This is not a talking shop. Okay? It is not a talking shop. It is for real. This is Pan-Africanism alive and well, vibrant and forward thrusting, yeah, visionary and determined. Let's talk about vision. Let's talk about vision.
Mhm,
As a strategic
mhm.
thinker, we always got to look at those words. Yeah? King Kabbalah, please remind the Motivator Show's listeners and viewers, what is the ACP's vision for Africa, or indeed for us all? What is the vision, please?
Beautiful. So the ACUP's vision, briefly, is
Yeah.
to re-establish Africa as a global power base,
Yeah.
because we realize that the world in which we are living today is governed by power. And
Yes.
if you are on the side of powerless, you are going to be always a subject to those who have the power. And that's the reality of Africa currently. And that's
Yes.
the reason why we don't have control over our resources. We don't
Mm-hmm.
fix the price on our resources.
Mm-hmm.
We don't control our economy. We don't control our education. We don't control our
Mm-hmm.
politics simply because
Mm-hmm.
we don't have the power. We rather depend, right, on the powerful to protect us, to defend us, or sometimes we depend on the international law or arrangements to protect
Mm-hmm.
us without realizing that international law are actually just the compliance of the powerless people and the
Yes.
fulfillment of the willing or the will of the powerful people. As
Mm-hmm.
long as the powerful people get what they want in the international arrangement, well, that
Yes.
international arrangement exists. When they
Yes.
don't get what they want, that international arrangement does not exist.
That's right.
And
That's right.
an appealing example is the US when it comes to respect to the international criminal courts. We know that I think a couple of years ago there were
Mm-hmm.
some American who committed crimes. I think in Afghanistan and
Yes.
other countries. The
Yes.
way actually the way yeah, there was a dossier at the ICC to have those people judged, and Trump actually banned the representative of the International Criminal Courts from the US simply because
Right.
that is not responding to the interest. So that is just a demonstration of power that we're talking about. So we
Yes.
want Africa to begin emerging to that level of power so that we can be able to define our own reality and to actually make it happen,
Yes.
without having to wait or to depend on other people. And to briefly put this in a context according to what Sekou Touré, sorry,
Yes.
Kwame Ture, one of our revolutionaries
Yep.
thinkers, he said
Yep.
that every free people or every people that aspire to freedom, they must be in a position to determine their own terms and define and determine their own terms and impose or make other people of the world accept those terms or those definition. And
Rastafari. Yes.
when people want to take away your power, or when a people
Mm-hmm.
want to invade you or want to
Mm-hmm.
destroy you, the first
Mm-hmm.
power they want to take from you is that power of defining your own terms, or
Absolutely.
deciding and defining what are your terms, what are your
Mm-hmm.
policy, what are your life. That is the power
Mm-hmm.
they take away from you first, then
Yes.
begin to
Yes.
impose you their own views. And that is what
Yes.
we are living today. So what we want briefly is for Africa to become a global power base. And if Africa
Absolutely.
emerges as a global power base, every African in the world will reflect that power, because one of the principles of Pan-Africanism states that state like, as Africa goes, so do all her children. So if
There we
Africa
go.
is under bondage, if Africa is
Yes.
looked as a substance that has to be dominated.
Mm-hmm.
So all African people around the world will be looked in the
Conducted
same way,
the
because
same
we
way.
only
Yes.
reflect the power and the image of Africa. So
Yes.
briefly, that's what we want to break, to
Thank you.
elevate
Thank you.
Africa as a global power base. So we do that through education of new leaders, preparing new
Mm-hmm.
leaders with this
Mm-hmm.
ideology, leaders
Yes.
who understand the essence of power in our lives
Yes.
as African people, and understand
Yes.
as well the strategies, properly trained to understand
Yes.
what strategies can be pursued to
Yes.
actually bring Africa to that level of power within the spirit of Pan-Africanism and
Mm-hmm.
Ubuntu. We do that, as I said, through education, through mobilization, through organizations. We create economic organizations, political organizations, social organizations, all to actually achieve the one goal, which is the re-establishment of Africa as a global power base. And
Thank you. Thank
ultimately,
you.
we
Thank you.
also do that
Okay. Mm-hmm.
through political parties, because we believe that for a long time
Mm-hmm.
Pan-Africanism has remained a topic of panel discussions. We
Indeed.
gather to talk about Pan-Africanism on YouTube, on TikTok, but we
Mm-hmm.
don't really capture the structure
Practice.
of power in order
That's
to
right.
change things the way that we want. So we believe that capturing political power is one of the ways that we can also ascend to that level whereby Pan Africanism is not only demanding for things to be done for us, but Pan Africanism actually implements the things or the change that we want to see in our lives.
Thank you. Thank you. Well said. Well said. Well said. So that's the vision. And as you started off by pointing out to us, it's very much the mindset. It's our mindset we need to transform first of all. Yeah. And in transforming that mindset, all things are possible. So that's the vision. It
Yes.
is very clear. But I'm bound to ask you, therefore, although you have begun to allude to it, can you remind us of the ACUP mission? Okay, the mission. Okay, we've got the vision, it's very clear. Now remind us of the mission, the both organization and individuals, the mission. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, beautiful. So actually, even condensed everything. I've explained the vision and the mission as
Mm,
well, but without
yes, you
being
have.
specific. So the vision was to build Africa as a global power base, or actually to rebuild,
Absolutely.
because Africa
Yes.
was once a global power base. Now,
Yes.
the mission is always about how do you go about fulfilling the vision that you have.
You've got it.
And how
Yes.
do we go about fulfilling that is exactly what I said, through education, through organizations, through mass organizations, actually grassroots organizations to be more precise, and through building political institutions.
Yes.
So we believe that, according to the mission, of course, we believe that we need to train new leaders, because you don't just prepare political institutions without preparing leadership that will take over. We cannot rely on formal education to prepare the leaders that Africa needs. No, actually, the formal education prepare the leaders that the Western need, because those are the leaders that will serve the Western, right?
That's right.
The
Yeah.
Western hegemony, to be more precise.
Yes.
So if we want the situation to change, especially at leadership level, we have to design our own agenda and our own curriculum that will have to submit to some Africans that we are preparing for leadership roles. So that's
Yes.
is part of the mission. That's what we are doing. That's what we are doing.
To deliver.
Education, economic institutions, political institutions, social institutions, according to the profile of the country. So we do all these things in order to actually fulfill the vision that we have, the power. Because as you said yourself, power begins first with the mind,
Yes.
realization of reality, waking up the sleeping lions of Africa, and that can be done through a compensatory education that we're having. Also, power will be realized through institutions, and we cannot build institutions if we are not organizing or mobilizing and organizing. So that is the mission. In one word, the mission is a revolutionary, liberating revolution in Africa to achieve the global power that we want.
Perfectly said, or well said. And just to remind the viewers and listeners that this podcast will be re-edited with a focus on this interview, and the intention will be that the references quoted by myself or King Kabbalah will be on the screen or in the comment section for you to do your own research and studies. Because once you have that information, you are empowered. But I now need to ask King Kabada this question. And this is really because you are the African Continental Unity Party, a Pan-Africanist party, and cultivating Pan-Africanist ideas across the continent. If I can invite you to describe the state of Pan-Africanism in Africa, not just yourself, but across Africa and all the other so-called Pan-Africanist parties or institutions. Give us some idea of the state of them. Are they collectively making progress? What are the challenges they may be facing or you're facing working with them? Just give us a sense, please, King Kabada.
Beautiful question. So there are two things that I want to say about the state of Pan-Africanism today in
Okay.
Africa. The first thing relates to many of those who are championing the agenda of Pan-Africanism. And the
Mhm.
second thing I want to say is about the people, the African people themselves.
Aha.
So, on the one side, about those who are driving the agenda of Pan Africanism, what
Mhm.
can be seen today on the continent is that many of those who are driving Pan Africanism on the continent today are militant or either activist, not
Mhm.
really revolutionaries. And there is a distinctive difference between a militant,
Explain.
an
Explain.
activist, a
Yes.
revolutionary. Actually, I'm actually finalizing a book that will be published recently that speaks about revolution. These things will be dealt with in detail. So, briefly to say, to speak about what is happening today on the continent about the state of Pan Africanism, I would say that many who are driving or talking about Pan Africanism on the continent today are not really revolutionaries. They are militant in a way that a militant is a person who fights mostly to get his place at the table. He does not fight to overturn the table, he to have access to the table. So mostly militants are people who fight for the needs which they don't have because he's
Mhm.
jobless, he doesn't have economy, so he fights to have access to the economy, but he doesn't have a problem with the system itself, right?
Aha.
And the
Yes.
same thing with an activist. An activist fights to reform a system, but not to transform it, not to change it or to destroy it. while a revolutionary is the one who tries to overturn the entire system. We are living in a neo-colonial system. The
Yes.
Africa as we have it today is a colonial project. That
Yes.
has to be properly understood. This Africa that we have today is still a colonial project, is not an
Yes.
African project.
It's the
So
21st
when
century,
a
folks. Forgive me, but my king, this is the 21st century. Yep. And the words that's uttered
yes,
by King